Hi there. In this video, we're going to talk a bit about projection files and how to set up a projection file for use in the Leapfrog Aspect app. If you are on a site that uses a local grid or uses imperial units instead of metric or anything that's other than UTM meters as your coordinate base, you're going to need to use a projection file so that the app can reposition your data relative to what it's recognizing as its position. Um, if you're using something like a local grid on site, you probably already have a projection file available from your surveyors, as they're going to need to use the same thing for their own survey equipment. Anything that ties to GPS is going to have to use a projection file. So to set up a projection file for use, you go into the settings panel from the main menu, which is the little gear icon on the top right corner. And the projection settings are all the way at the bottom of this list. So we're going to scroll on down there. And so we have projection down here. And the first thing I need to do if I want to use a projection file is I need to turn this option on. So it's a little tap on that toggle button and it'll turn on the option. And then everything, all the other sub options in here will be made available. So the first thing you need to do is tell the app what your UTM zone is. So down here in Christchurch, New Zealand, we're in UTM zone 59, so that's what I have set here. If I was somewhere else in the world, I'd have to know the UTM zone for that location. So for example, Colorado in the United States is in UTM zone 12. So if I was in Colorado, I'd need to set it to 12 here. The next portion over deals with the hemisphere, the Earth hemisphere. So again, Christchurch, New Zealand is in the southern hemisphere, so I have south selected. If I was somewhere in the north, in Colorado, I would use north option. So I'll set that back to south. And then finally, we need to tell it which file to use to define the projection. So this is a well-known text PRJ file. Again, if you're using a local grid on site, you probably already have access to one of these. You just have to ask your surveyors or somebody if they have this file. And if I tap on the file button here, it's going to list any PRJ file that I have loaded on the device. So anything that I pulled down from the Dropbox link within Leapfrog Aspect, or anything that I've manually moved onto the device is all going to list in here. And in this case, I happen to have two of the same file in here in two separate folders, so it's showing up twice, which is a little bit confusing, but that's okay. So I just tap on that, and it's going to use that as my projection file. And once it's set, again, it's a set it and forget it, so I don't really have to deal with this again. As long as I'm going to be on the same site using the same projection, I can just leave this up and running and don't have to deal with it again. So I can just X out of this panel, and then I'm ready to load up whatever data is using that projection and won't have an issue. All right, I hope that helps.